All right, everybody, come on in. Come on in. Get seated. Get comfortable. We're about to get jumping into this thing. Come on in. Come on in, guys. We're going to give everybody a second just to pop in here. We're about to get started. I went ahead and decided we're going to go ahead and do this. You know, I've been sitting here using this system and trying to get some adjustments and some stuff made, and man, it's rocking. It's doing good, and you know, I just can't imagine continuing not making this available. I just can't. I know it works, and I'm not going to. And it's not. I'm not trying to gatekeep. I'm not trying to do anything like that. I wanted to make sure, and I know it works. God showed it to me, so I know it works. So there's no sense in me having any kind of hesitation, because I know that this is a God thing. So come on in, guys. Letting you guys get settled. Hey, Alicia, I see you, girl. Come on in, guys. Come on in. And I'm going to go ahead and just release this today, because the people that this is really for, they need it right now. They don't need it later. I've kind of bit by bit shared it to some different people, you know, and just folks in my world, in my community, and I have been watching it do incredible things. And so I want to waste no more time and get this, get it started. And been, like I said, trying to develop some clarity on this. And I feel like I'm there. I feel like we've pretty well locked in on it. And I want to do everything that I possibly can to get this to people so that they can start getting some changes made if they need changes made to their finances. So that's kind of what this whole thing is about. This whole thing is about giving people just some advantages, and maybe this is something that some of you've already done and been doing. That's great. I'm happy. Why didn't you tell me about it? That's what I got to say. What's going on, guys? Hey, we're here. Come on in. We're gonna get into this tonight, and I've got several things. Let me see here. Put this right there. That's perfect. I'm trying to give myself a little bit of space, because I think I'm going to use, I've got a little whiteboard here that I've brought with me that I may try to crudely draw some pictures of this to you guys some, but let me get this. I'm just situating. Okay. I rushed over here from the house. I've had multiple emails from you guys and multiple text messages, people reaching out saying, hey, listen, you know, we're wanting to get, you know, we could really use just some insight, you know, some of the stuff that you've talked about. It hit home for us, and, you know, we're looking to, you know, maybe just get some information as soon as you can get it. And I'm like, okay, you know, I will, just as soon as I can. And so I just, you know, have shared this a little bit, because as I'm developing it, you know, of course it comes up, you know, anytime you're developing anything, it comes up. And so it popped up. Hey guys, hey Alicia, hey Jamie, hey Wendy, good to see you guys. But I just could not hold this back anymore. I don't think that it's wise to. Let me just make sure that I'm where I need to be here and pop this on here. Okay, perfect. I want to make sure everything's flowing like it's supposed to. Okay, great. All right, so like I said, if this is something that you've already been doing, then man, I wish that you would do what you can to share what you're doing, because in my circles they're not really talking about it very much. And you know, in my world, it's not really been brought up as much. And so that's the reason why, you know, I'm locking in to do this, because there's just not a lot of people that are talking about it. And there are people that they would love just another perspective on how to deal with this. And so we're talking tonight about you can't afford to stay confused. It's down there in the lower left-hand side, but this is what it's going to be. You cannot afford to stay confused, because I know many of you know what I know, that the enemy is doing everything that he can to try to confuse folks, to keep people bound, to keep people stuck. And, you know, we really live in a day and age that we just can't afford to be confused any longer. And so some of this stuff may seem like basic stuff to you, but there's some spiritual stuff to it. I believe in a right now word. I'm not reinventing the wheel. My job is to give what's needed when it's needed. I'm not here to create stuff, you know, or come up with stuff that's not somehow, you know, existed before. I'm a preacher of the Word of God. The Word of God's been around for thousands and thousands of years. I am not That's my core is something that's been around a long time. But what I have to do is go to the Word of God and extract what is needed when it's needed. That is my job. Okay, so my job is to, when something is needed, I have to go into the Word of God and I have got to extract what is needed when it's needed and apply it to the people that are in my life. Okay, that is my calling. That's what I'm here to do. And so right now, I'm not here to do anything out of the ordinary. It's just a right now word. Okay, so that's the best way that I can explain it. It's a right now word, and so we're going to jump into this. Okay, so hop in the room with me. We're going to get started. Hold on. Let's go. You might need a pen and paper, but you'll be able to go back and get through this, okay? But we're going to talk about you can't afford to stay confused. A teaching on 4 buckets. The 4 buckets, okay? That's what this is about. So if you're keeping notes, put at the very top the 4 buckets, okay? You don't have a money problem. You have a system problem. If there's one thing I'm learning through all of this, you don't have a money problem, you have a system problem. And that's not an insult. I'm not trying to insult anybody. That's actually the best news that you've probably heard about your finances in a long time, because a system can be learned. A system can be applied, okay? A system doesn't care how much or how little money you make. It just works. So it doesn't matter the amount of money you have. Doesn't matter if you've got, a big account. Doesn't matter if you've got a bunch of money. It doesn't matter. A system is a system. It just works. That you can teach children to save money. Saving money is a system. And so saving on a small scale, you can teach it to children. You can teach it to people that have multi-millions of dollars, because a system is a system regardless of the age, regardless of the amount. Okay. So a system can be applied. A system doesn't care. It just works. Okay. So I want you to remember that. What I'm teaching you tonight is a system. It just works. It's universal. It can apply to anybody. All right. The reason that most people stay stuck financially isn't because they don't work hard enough. It's because they've never been taught. Nobody sat them down, explained to them how money moves. Okay, I can tell you right now, I didn't have somebody to sit me down and tell me how money works. Now, I was talking about, I've kind of just ran into this today, to be honest. My goal was to get my daughter and have her sat here and teach her as I'm teaching you, but I'm going to teach her this specifically, one-on-one, explain to her how money works, because that's something that did not happen to me. I did not have somebody to sit me down and talk to me about how money flows. They didn't sit down with me. I was taught a lot of incredible things in my life that I'm very thankful for, but the one thing that I was never really taught was because my family, my mom and dad weren't really taught either. They were never sat down and taught, how does money work? How money operates, that's just something that we didn't cover, and it's ground that we never really met, and so therefore it took me a little bit of time to really get locked in, and now that I'm feel like I'm kind of getting there, I want to do everything that I can to try and help folks. Okay, that's my whole goal is to try and help folks and to give you a little bit of help, get you unstuck financially, because this system works. It's because you didn't get taught. That's all there is to it. Nobody sat you down. They didn't explain it to you. Nobody showed you the road. They just handed you a paycheck and wished you luck. But guess what? That ends today. Because guess what? I'm going to sit down with you and I'm going to talk to you about it. And I'm going to talk to you about it in a way that you can understand. I'm going to talk to you about it in a way that's going to make sense to you, okay? So there was a man in Genesis by the name of Joseph. Now, you already know I'm a pastor, so I'm going to bring the Bible into all this. This is a system that's connected to the Scripture. You're not late, Jess. You're fine, okay? I'm just now getting started, so we're getting going. The only thing you missed is I said you don't have a money problem, you have a system problem. If somebody could put that in the chat for me, I would appreciate it. You don't have a money problem, you have a system problem. And let me, before I go on to continue this story about Joseph, I have watched people get millions of dollars put into their life and millions of dollars slipped through their life. Because no matter how much money is thrown at a problem, if it doesn't have a system, that money is going to leave. Because if you don't have a system, it doesn't matter how much money. So in your mind, The enemy's been telling you, well, if we could just win the lottery, well, if I could just get this pay raise, if I could just get this, if I could just get that. We make up in our minds, if I just get this job, if I just get that job, if I just get this opportunity, then all of our problems are going to fix. Well, let me tell you this, mo money, mo problems. You ever heard that? Because that's absolutely the truth. It doesn't matter. When me and Carrie were dating, or when me and Carrie were first married, the first couple of years of our marriage, if I had the income that I have right now, back then I would have flipped my wig. But guess what? It would have slipped through my fingers, because you end up getting more things, creating more bills, and it slips through if you don't have a system. It doesn't matter how much money you make. If you don't have a system, that money is going to leave you. And I'm telling you, I have witnessed firsthand people getting large amounts of money that cannot stay with them because they do not have a system, okay? And we're going to talk about that. You have to have a system in place, or what comes into your life is going to flow right out of your life. But we're going to help you, and we're going to keep that from happening to you. And I believe this is a divine intervention, and God is going to do something miraculous in your finances. And I'm not just talking about a check in the mail, okay? We talk about this every Sunday. We get up and we declare it. We talked about it for years and years and years. We changed our posture where we put our hand upon our heart, and we begin to say, this is my offering. My heart is my offering. And the moment we started doing that, God began to do a next level thing in finances, and this is a part of it. Okay, this is a game-changing moment. So here we go. There's a man in Genesis by the name of Joseph, and he did not start with money. We find out that he started as a young man. The first place that he ended up is in a pit. After the pit, we find he ended up in a prison. But somewhere in that story, God gave him a system, and that system saved a nation. 7 years of plenty, 7 years of famine. He did not spend anything when he had it. He didn't spend it all. Or he didn't spend everything. I'm sorry. He did not spend everything when he had it. He organized, he stored, he planned, and the people who had no food come to the one who had a system. He did not just have food, he had a system. And that system allowed him to have food and to have what's needed to minister, to have what's needed to feed and help for people to survive. But the first thing God gave him before he ever had wealth, before he ever had the entirety of the Egyptian storehouse to manage, before he had any of that, God gave him a system. So before God's going to bless you like you've been praying to be blessed, God's got to say, hey, listen, you know what I'm going to do? Instead of going through a financial advisor, I'm going to go through your pastor, and I'm going to give you the system necessary for you to be able to manage what's coming into your life. And before it comes to your life, you're going to manage what you have now. So we find Joseph, okay? He organized, he stored, he planned, and the people who did not have anything came to a man with a system. Okay? You don't have to be wealthy to be organized. I'm talking to some of you, you don't have a lot of money. Okay? You don't have to be wealthy to be organized. You just have to be willing. You do not have to have a big fat stack bank account. You do not have to have a 6-figure bank account. You do not have to have, a big amount of money, okay? You just have to be willing. So here's the truth that nobody's going to say out loud, but I'm going to tell you out loud. A little bit managed well is more powerful than a lot managed badly. Okay? A little bit managed well is more powerful than a lot managed badly. I have seen people who do not make a whole lot of money, but they are organized, and they can take $1 and stretch it to the moon and back because they are organized. And because of that, it has blessed them, not just in their finances, but all across the board. They take care of so many different things. They take care of so much. So let me answer just a quick question. What if we are already behind? This system is going, so there is not money going to pour out of this system. That's not the way it works. It organizes. It's going to help you to be able to see how things work. Okay. So we're going to, if you're already behind, that's a reality that we're going to get to. Okay. I can't fix the reality that you are right now behind. This is putting something in place that's going to motivate you going forward. I cannot get you out of whatever bind you're in right now, but I don't want to keep on pushing this off, because in the chances that you're able to start climbing out of this and getting things together, I want to give you a system that when you get out of it, you can put this system in place. This should go in place right now. You should teach your kids this ASAP. We're breaking generational curses, guys. For those of you, you are 3rd generation, 4th, 5th, who knows how many generations poor? And by poor, I mean no system. That's what poverty is. It's a lack of a system. It's not lack of, you live in the land of opportunity. So you don't need to worry about where I just don't have the opportunities others have. You don't have a system. Now that you're going to have a system, you're going to be able to get out of whatever it is that you're in. It's going to take you some time. It's going to take some determination, but I promise you, you're going to have what is necessary to get outside of whatever this mess is that you're currently in. Okay. Hey, good morning. Hey, good to see everybody. Good to see you over. Man, this is awesome. We got a great group showing up on YouTube as well. This is great, man. Let's keep this momentum going. So here's the truth. A little bit managed well is more powerful than a lot managed badly. Proverbs 13:11 says, whoever gathers money little by little makes it grow. Little by little, that's what it says. Not all at once, not a windfall, not a lottery ticket. Little by little, that's your assignment, okay? So let me tell you, those of you who says, what if we are behind? Your assignment is little by little. You will get out of it diligently and consistently. It's time to stop getting mad at our lack of a system and say, okay, God, you've given me the tool. Now I've got to get out of whatever this is that I'm in, okay? So that's where this starts, okay? So the 4 buckets, this is the system. Are you ready? Here we go. I'm going to give you a system. It has 4 parts. It's 4 buckets. Okay, you're not going to need a spreadsheet. You're not going to need a financial advisor. You need 4 envelopes, 4 jars, 4 anything, and you need a decision to start. Okay, so every dollar that comes in gets divided, not randomly, on purpose. And here's how it's going to work. Now, the way I will just tell you how this gets set up, okay? I'm going to tell you how this let me tell you how the Boyd household does it, okay? We already have 2 bank accounts. One that I do professional stuff, and becoming the place where we pay all of our bills with. So I've got one account that pays our bills, and then we've got an original checking account that we had before I expanded and had a business and all that kind of stuff. So I've got 2 checking accounts. So one checking account, that's where we keep one of our buckets. Then we've got another checking account it's in the same bank, but then there's another checking account that we have that has our other buckets. So we've got 2 buckets that are in the bank, okay? I got 2 buckets that are in the bank. And then a third bucket, I have what's called a Square Savings app, and it's connected through my business. It comes with my booking business, and I'll talk about this in a minute. You need to have it in a thing that you can't just go and get to whenever it comes to your savings account. Now, this is your 4th bucket, though. This isn't the 3rd bucket. This is a 4th. The savings is your 4th bucket, but I'm getting ahead of myself, so let me stop and get right back to this system, okay? So there's 4 parts. Here's how it goes. Bucket number 1. I'm going to try to write this down. I'm not an artist. That is a crude looking bucket and a little pale. Bucket number 1. Can you see this? Okay. Bucket number 1. This is your non-negotiable. Now I will be erasing. So bucket number 1. Bucket number 1 is your non-negotiables. Here, I put it down a little bit so you can see it better. So bucket number 1 is your non-negotiables. Okay, that's bucket number 1. So here's what happens. You get paid however often you get paid. If you get paid once a week, you get paid once every other week, however it is. You take all of that money, whatever your income is, okay, wherever you're getting income, wherever you've got coming in. That bucket number 1, that's what it takes to make the house go, okay? So listen, the non-negotiables are your rent, your lights, your water, your phone, your insurance, your car payment, any debt that you have, the minimum payment. So if you've got credit cards, okay? If you've got credit cards, every bit of the minimum payment, it's so important. Your non-negotiable. So if you have your rent, your mortgage, your lights, your water, your phone, your insurance, your car payment, these are the bills. These things have to be paid for the wheels to turn in our household, okay? Those are what we call non-negotiables, and they go in bucket number 1. Those are your non-negotiables. They go in bucket number 1. Also in this bucket, the minimum payments for all of your debt. So if you went out and got a loan shark loan, a demonic loan shark killing you, raking you over the coals, beating your head into the ground, telling you they love you and they hate you, abuse loans. If you have one of those, I hate them, I despise them, I think they should be burned to the ground. I know they employ people, but they need to go work somewhere else, because I'm telling you, I believe there's a back door straight to hell in those places. Are absolutely awful how they steal from people. I hate them. I absolutely hate the whole system that's keeping people bound. It's as bad as drugs. To me, it's just as bad as going to a meth dealer sometimes, going to those those places because they keep you bound and they hold you down and take advantage of you in terrible places. I hate them. I cannot stand them. I do not recommend them. I am never okay with those. I hate loan sharking companies, okay? I hate everything about them. But if you have a loan from there or you have a credit card or anything like that, the minimum on those, okay, whatever the minimum is, that goes in bucket number 1. That is your non-negotiable. You have to pay those bills every single week. So when you get a check, okay, well, first of all, you tally up this number, okay? First number you're going to tally up is how much money does my family make? And you put that at the top, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to erase all this, all right? Here we go. Oh, thank you for keeping notes for me. This is going to be so helpful. So the first thing you need to do is the amount. First thing is, what is your total income in a month? Okay, 1 month, once a week, twice a month. What is it? Okay, so number 1 is your income. You need to get that number first. So tonight you need to write all that out. How much money are we making? You need to find out every source that you have. How much money do you make? Number 2, you need to write down everything in bucket number 1. Those are your non-negotiables. Okay, so number 1, and there's some great note takers happening down here. Thank you, Alicia. Keep up with me, girl. This is exactly what I need. So number 1, you need to find out what your income is. Number 2, you need to find out what are my non-negotiables. These are things that I have to pay. There's no getting around these. Put those into play, okay? Put that down, okay? You need an exact number. I don't want to guess. I don't want you to say around. I need an exact number. Write it down. That bucket gets fed first every time, without argument, without debate. So if your bills are $800 a month, you need to know that $800 has to move the moment that the money comes in into that bucket. This bucket is not for food. This bucket is not for gas. This bucket is not for haircuts. It's the walls of your house, literally and financially. So when bucket 1 is funded, that's your foundation, okay? So bucket 1 is your foundation. I'm going to write that underneath there. Foundation. I'm going to put FIN. I'm shortening it. Bucket number 1 is your financial foundation, okay? Your financial foundation, bucket number 1. Okay? It's your financial foundation. So bucket number 1, it is your financial foundation. It has to be fed first, okay? You got to fund it. When your foundation is stable, that's important. Everything else can begin to come into play, but you have to have that bucket solid, okay? It's the walls of your house, literally and financially. When bucket 1 is funded, your foundation is stable. That's all that this bucket does. It keeps the roof over your head, okay? Bucket number 1 keeps the roof over your head. Bucket number 2, that's living. So I'm going to put 3, but this is bucket 2. The third thing you come up with is your living expense. Me and Carrie have been calling this the dailies. We call this the dailies. You need to tally up your dailies. Make this a little bit smaller. You need to tally that up. So this is everyday stuff, okay? This is your groceries, your gas, your toiletries, your school supplies, your laundry stuff, your laundry soap, all of that stuff. It goes into the dailies, okay? This is the things that you need to function in a week, okay? So this bucket is flexible, but it still has a number. Hear me clearly. This is a flexible bucket, but it still has a number. You have to know how much you typically spend on living, and you assign it before you spend it, okay? This is where you find people using a term called a budget. That's essentially what this looks like, okay? So you have this number. Whatever you spend, you assign that number. Okay, so Carrie can vouch for this. I put this into action ASAP. As soon as God showed this to me, as soon as I wrote it down, man, I'm telling you, my head was spinning. As soon as I wrote it down, I put it down, and I went to Carrie and I said, "Hey, listen, this is what it looks like." And I started sharing it to her, and she was just kind of like, "Oh, okay." And I told her, I said, "We're gonna be doing this," and she's like, "Okay, that sounds good." I said, "I need a number from you. How much does it take to make this family of 8 on a weekly basis move? What does it take? She's like, what is it? What do you mean? And I had explained to her, just like I'm explaining to you guys. I said, we have gas for 3 vehicles that we need to take care of. I said, we have to buy groceries, in this economy for 6 babies and you and me. I said, we've got a lot of stuff. She likes to go buy, she wants to go and get a cup of coffee. She can. I said, if you want to even make a run to Goodwill here and there, you can. I said, I want you to tell me what does it take for you, to survive? And she shot me a number, and I think it was a little bit low. I said, that's not realistic. I said, so I added $100 to the amount that she gave me, and I gave it to her, and we nailed it. And so I immediately transferred that money I told you we had the 2 accounts. I immediately transferred that money to her account, and I have now filled that up twice since I've started this. Okay. I just filled it up again on Friday. And so I got that number, and that number, she was able to pay for the gas in our cars. She actually had enough. She managed it, and Carrie is absolutely rocking this system right now. She was able. I'm saying all this to give you a testimony, okay? She was able to take care of all of our groceries. The number that we come up with was a pretty solid number. She put the number down, explained, any extra thing that you like to go and do. We took our kids to a trampoline park for a birthday party. We were able to take Landry and some of his friends that he'd picked to go on a little trampoline park thing. We took them there. We took care of the food, all of that extra stuff. So we were able to do all that stuff. And I think she had, by the time it was all said and done, I think she had like $91. She had managed our grocery bill for all of our family, took care of all of that stuff, took care of the gas, took care of all the extra stuff. And she had like $91 in that account. Now, does that mean Aaron, you tell me you only had $91 left? No, I had $91 left in that account. It's about being on the right side of broke, because there are, I'm not going to get ahead of myself, because we're going to get into that here in just a minute. But she was able to manage that. By the time that I put the money in her back into her account to bump it back up, she had gotten it down to 60 some odd dollars. Now, when you have a family our size, that's getting close. But by the time she woke up that morning, I had already moved that money over, because we had we paid ourselves with the way we had set it up, and I refunded that budget, because once a week I refund that part of our budget, and that bucket number 2, our daily living, came back. She came to me. I'm telling you this to tell you a testimony. She came to us and she said, I have such a peace like I have never had about our finances like I have right now, and I can't even begin to explain it. It took so much off of her shoulders, knowing there was a certain amount that she could count on, and knowing what it took to manage our. And so she has to say no to a lot of things. She has not been to Goodwill one time. She hasn't. She has put a restriction on herself because guess what? There are some things that you are telling yourself that you need that you actually don't need. So let me continue into this, okay? So if you usually spend about $300 a month on groceries and gas combined, then write that down. Whatever that number is on groceries and gas and whatever little extras you might need, give yourself that number, because that's your bucket number 2. Here's the key. When bucket 2 is empty, you stop. Yeah, there you go. You don't borrow from bucket 1. You don't swipe the card. You get creative. You eat beans and rice. You walk if you have to. You work with what you have. This is where most people fall apart right here, because the spending has no end. Luke 16:10 says, whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. This is where trust is built. Right here in the small daily decisions, when nobody is watching, it's just you and the bucket. This is where you succeed or you fail. This is what's killing you right now, is your second bucket. It has too many holes in it, and you're stealing from the non-negotiables. You're going into your bucket number 1, and you're reacting, you're responding all the time, and everything is a crisis, okay? Let me not get ahead of myself. Bucket number 3 is your debt. Okay, is your debt. Now, in your non-negotiables, the minimums of this debt are already being taken care of. In your non-negotiables, this debt's already being taken care of, okay? This is bucket number 3, if you owe money to someone, a credit card, a payday loan, a family member, a store, it goes into bucket 3, okay? Not all at once, a little every month on purpose. So here's what I want you to understand. Debt is a hole in the bottom of your bucket. And so whatever you pour in, it's leaking out. And the goal is to plug all of those holes one at a time. And you start with the smallest debt. So listen, after you have, number 1, don't drop that. Oh, caught it. Man, caught it twice. You put your income down. Let me turn this just a little bit. Hold on just a second. Let me make a little turn. Okay. Okay. All right. So you put your income down, number 1. You put your income down. Bucket number 1, that's your non-negotiables. That's your financial foundation. That's your walls of your house, the walls of your finances. Next, your living expenses. Get your number. Get whatever that number is. Get your number. Okay. After you've got your daily settled, then you're coming to number 3, or you're coming to bucket 3. I'm going to take these numbers off the side so that they don't get confusing. Buck 3. Buck 3, this is your debt. Okay? So here's this, the bucket number 3 is your debt. So you're like, okay, Aaron, but hang on a minute. Didn't you tell me in bucket number 1, I'm already putting my minimums. Isn't that my debt going down? That's your minimums. This is where the so we'll get to that in just a second. So this right here, debt. This is, find whatever your smallest bill is, okay? If you have Klarna, Affirm, whatever it is, go through your debts because you've already written them all down. Go find the smallest debt that you have and any extra that you can, okay? I want you to pay the minimum on everything else, but I want you to put every extra dollar that you can find towards whatever your smallest debt is. And then when it's gone, you should celebrate. Take everything that you were paying on that one and then add it to the next one. It's called a snowball. So whatever amount you were paying after you pay that debt off, you now take that amount and the minimum, okay? Listen, here's the secret. Whatever the extra that you were paying on in this bucket right here, whatever extra you were paying on the debt, that extra that you were paying had a minimum payment that you were already paying up here in bucket number 1. So you take that minimum payment of the debt you paid off, as well as the amount that you've been putting towards the extra that you paid, and now you put it on to the next smallest. Okay, so now you're paying a whole lot more. And then once you pay that off, you celebrate and you go to the next one. It takes time, but it begins to move. The prophet Haggai said that the people were earning wages, but they were putting them into bags with holes. They worked and they worked, but they never got ahead. Why? Because the holes in their life were not getting fixed. Bucket 3 fixes the holes. So let's put this. It's the plug. This is the plug that's keeping you from leaking out all the time, okay? This is the plug, okay? So debt number 3 is the plug. So you find the smallest bill that you can find, and you take little bits after you've gone through these 2, and you start paying that off, okay? Bit by bit. You commit to doing it, okay? So that's your, now bucket number 4. Is the future. Bucket number 4 is the future. This is the hardest one for most people who have never had anything. Because when you've never had savings, saving feels pointless. If you've never had it, you don't understand the reason behind it. Okay? So if you've never had savings, savings feels pointless. What's the point of setting aside $10 when the whole world's on fire? Here's the point. Because $10 becomes $20. $20 becomes $50. $50 becomes the reason you don't have to borrow money when your tire goes flat. Even if it's just a little bitty amount, I want you to commit to putting money into an account that you cannot just go and touch. You cannot just go and clean it up. Hey, listen, I got a friend that's unexpectedly coming in out of town. Hey, we've got some money paid back. Let's go and get our money and go hang out with our friend. No. I'm telling you, no. You cannot go and do that. Well, but I never get to see him, and you're going to stay broke the rest of your life because all you do is you walk around with a knife and you keep plugging holes in your bucket. It's a no. If you don't have the money, let's go come to the house and we can share some of our groceries with you and we'll hang out at the house. Oh, but they want to go and have Mexican. Oh, they want to go and have a night out. Oh, they want to go and spend $215 and I've got $304 sitting right there in a savings account. We only live one life. And here you go. A spirit of poverty talks you out of moving into the future, and your future self is just sitting there. The future is coming, whether you're ready for it or not. But are you going to start setting stuff in that future to keep everything from being a crisis? Okay? 10 becomes 20. 20 becomes 50. 50 becomes the reason you're stopping. You don't have to go borrow money because your tire goes flat. You could buy a tire because you had money, and that would count for an emergency. Okay? This bucket's not about getting rich. The bucket is about breaking the cycle of emergency. Okay? Most financial chaos happens because there's no margin, there's no space, there's no room for error. Every crisis becomes debt. Okay? Hear me. Every crisis becomes debt. Every debt makes the hole bigger. Okay? Every surprise is a crisis to some people. Every surprise is a crisis. They're calling. Does your church help with this? Does your church help with that? Can this? I get calls all of the time. I got calls today. I get messages every single day. Does your church help with XYZ? XYZ. Now, there's some things that are emergencies, and I totally get it, and I have a heart for that. Okay, but there are so many things, and so many times when people are reaching out, a surprise has happened. Because, and every surprise is a crisis. Every crisis becomes a debt. Every debt makes the hole bigger. And it comes to the point where you can't go anywhere to borrow any money because you constantly are surprised by crisis. So bucket 4 starts small, okay? Maybe every paycheck you put $5 in it. I'm not telling you it's got to be a lot, okay? But you take $5 from a paycheck, okay? Maybe $10 if you can, $10 a month. $10 a month, you can commit to putting $10 a month in from your paycheck into this savings account. I'm not talking about a bucket that you put by the washer or a bucket you put on top of the fridge. You need an account where you can keep your stinky little hands out of it, your sticky little hands. You need to get it out. You need to go open a savings account. If you have I don't know how some of you, if you have a Cash App card, the thing is if you are decided that you're going to get into it, you'll get into it. But I know Cash App has a savings system. Venmo has a savings system. Okay, I'm just saying you need to get it out of your reach. Okay, there's no place that you're going to put it that you can't just go get it if you want it. I know, like my Square that I put mine in, it takes 2 days to get it. But once I start the process, I can't stop it. So once I click and say I want my savings, boom, they'll send it to me. So I mean, the bottom line is you can get the money. The thing is I want you to put it someplace away from you. That's all I'm trying to tell you. You're still going to have discipline. Yeah. People are like, well, I can get to it. It's almost like you're saying, hey, I'm going to give you $1,000. I want you to punch me in the face if I try to take it from you. That's not what I'm talking about, guys. You're not learning anything if you're doing that. Okay, let's grow up. Okay, you're not learning a thing if that's what you're talking about. You're going to have to put this money someplace that's just not right there, okay? Like I said, Venmo has one. Cash App has one. For those of you who may have those digital cards, I know many of you that are on here, I know you have them. We've exchanged over the years or over the time. So I know many of you have them, and there's a savings option in there. You should get that. And if you get that savings option, put $10 a month, okay? $10 a month. It doesn't matter how small it is. Whatever that is, you don't touch it unless it's an actual emergency. This is your Joseph moment. 7 years of plenty stored up for a lean season. Okay? This is your moment. Joseph was in the Egyptian world, and here we are. We're in the Egyptian, little Egypt is where we're at. He's looking for some Josephs to rise up and say, I'm ready to take my family out of this. He's looking for some Josephs that'll stand up and say, I'm ready to get my family out of this poverty cycle that's keeping everybody starving and dying. I am ready to fight this battle. Everybody talks about spiritual battles, but nobody wants to fight the one that's right here in our own backyard. Everybody wants to come up and pray and scream and holler and shout and chant and march and do all of these things. But if we can't beat the battle here, then we have no business saying that we're built for war, because we are. But this is where the battle truly starts, guys, right here. You know, we can go and march all day long, and we could pour oil over every boundary and declare this and declare that and do all of this. But if we don't disciple ourselves into a change, we're all talk and we're no fruit. We've got to start making changes. You have got to stop talking about it. I'm giving you a system. It's your fault if you don't use it. There's no more excuses. It's your fault if you're going to stay in this broken state. I'm giving you a system to get you out of famine. It's time to get out of it, and it's going to take time. It's going to take discipline. But I promise you this, he's looking for some Josephs. He's looking for some Josephs to give you. I'm in prison right now. I'm in a pit right now. Take this system. Well, I'm in a prison. I'm in a pit. I don't know. I'm sold to slavery. I'm bound to slavery. Start developing and using this system, okay? Start realizing this is a God thing, okay? This is not a financial advisor thing. This is a God thing. You've got to take this system and make it work. He's looking for a Joseph. If you're ready to be a Joseph, put it in the chat. I'm ready to be a Joseph. I'm ready to be a Joseph. I am ready to step in and start setting this up for the lean season, okay? It's so very important. So here's how you set the numbers. Listen, this is where people get intimidated. They don't know how much to put in each bucket. So I'm going to simplify it for you. I want you to sit down. I want you to look at this, okay? And I want you to do this right now. Step one, I already talked about this. Step one, write down everything you make in a month, every source, every check, okay? I want you to write it all down and then add it up. That's your total, okay? I want you to write it down. Every source, every check, everything you have coming in, I don't care where it is, I want you to write it down. Number one, that's your first goal. Before you can do anything else, you need to stop, write it down. Everything that comes into your family's possession in 1 month, every source, every check, add it up. That's your total, okay? Step two, write down every bill you pay, every single one of them, okay? Add that up, every bill. Go on to your bank summary. Go look at your bank summary, get the mail out, whatever you got to do. Write it up. I want you to write down, if you owe your mom and dad $300, write it down. Every debt, okay? I want you to write it down. Every single bill you pay, I want you to write that down, okay? That's bucket one. Bucket one, every credit card, the minimum for every credit. If you've got a Discover card, a Visa card, a MasterCard, if you've got a Sun loan, a Payday loan, a personal finance loan, a Heights finance loan, all of these loan sharks, all these loan companies, if you've got a mortgage, if you've got rent, you've got electric, you've got utilities, you've got insurances, health insurance, life insurance, I want you to put it down. Every single bill that you pay, your phone bill, put it down there. Your phone bill, if you've got a Hulu account, a Disney account, you've got any of that, put it all down there. T-Mobile, put it down there. Verizon, put it down there. Every single bill. You got HBO, if you got Netflix, put it down, okay? Write it down. Every bill you pay. Alicia's put it in the chat for you, Brother Eric. Every bill that you pay, I want you to put that down there. Every single bill you pay. Write that down. That is bucket number one, okay? That's bucket one. That's bucket one. Step two, every bill that you pay, the minimums to the debt, the minimums to the credit card, all of that, write that down. That's bucket number one. Are you with me? All right. Step number three, subtract bucket one from the income total at the top, okay? So here we are. The income total that you wrote down, bucket one, all of those bills, subtract it from your income. Okay? Subtract it from your income. Subtract that from your income. What's left is what you actually have to work with, okay? That's what you have to work with. Step four, from what's left, you need to assign a number to bucket number two, your dailies. Now, you need to be realistic. If you're in a bind, you're going to have to, and you need to live tight, okay. But be realistic. What do you actually spend on food and gas in a week? You know, and I know that there's, if you are right now in a financial pinch, you may need to take about 5 or 6 months where you don't go to Goodwill. Oh, I said it. If you're in a financial bind, you don't need to be going on to Amazon. Oh, I said it. Yeah, I said it, and I'll say it again. You don't need to be going to Dollar Tree to go and find extra special snacks because you only live once. You are slowly killing yourself and your family if you don't stop it. I'm trying to shake you out of this. You don't need to do that. Hey, and let me go back to your bucket number 1. You don't need to have all those subscriptions. Maybe you just need to have one of them. Maybe you need to tighten that one up. I think if you're in a bind right now, you need to take a break from all the spending. You've done enough spending. You've spent till the cows come home. You may need to come as a family and say, hey, for the next 3 months, there's a new system in this household, and we're going to be cut. Hey, maybe you need to learn how to sew clothes. That's right. I said it. You don't like it? That's fine. Maybe you need to learn to sew. I'm not joking. Maybe there may need to be some tightening up that needs to be getting done, especially if you're behind right now. These are some serious conversations that we need to start having. There's too many luxuries that we think we are entitled to when this system is trying to get us out of the back-breaking imprisonment that the enemy has us under. We've got to get out of this stuff, okay? So I'm going to be real with you because I love you. And I want to see things change in your life. I want to see change in my life and in my world. God's called me to this region for a reason. This is one of the reasons I'm here. The only reason I'm teaching this right now is I fell on my face before Almighty God, and I said, God, I'm preaching your word. I'm going to keep preaching your word. How can I help these people? I cried out to God, and he began to show me things. This is one of several things he showed me how I can minister to this area. I don't want to just teach people stories about the Bible. I want to get them out from underneath the yoke of slavery that their life is keeping them imprisoned by. That's my goal. I know poverty. We are in the poorest county in the state, guys. You should start looking up the statistics for Alexander County and find out the mental crisis that's going on and find out there's no help for anybody. Men in particular, you want to know why they're so full of meth and they're so full of alcohol and they're leaving their families and beating their wives and doing all this thing? There's no help for them mentally, and they've learned to find other ways to cope. If they just get a system, it would change everything, and it would break the generational curses, and we could see industry begin returning back to this area, but the men and the women are going to have to wake up. My heart broke when I started truly seeing the needs of my community. The reason this is happening right now, I am making steps into trying to address the needs of my community. This is my community. And we got bigger problems than the flood. Okay, we have got generational issues and curses that are being passed on by people who are supposed to be people of God. And maybe, and I'm not trying to throw blame, but maybe there was just nobody that would ever come and lead them right for whatever reason. I don't want to be that guy. I am not going to lead you wrong. I'm going to do everything that I possibly can to do what I can to lead you and to break these things off of us, okay? That's what this is about, okay? I'm going to give you, so I'm not just going to pray for you. No, I'm going to show you. I'm not just going to pray for you and pray that this spirit of poverty break. I want you to walk this out with me, but you got to get serious about this stuff, okay? This system's going to break a lot of going to break a lot of chains. I can promise you that. All right, let's get back to this. So you subtract bucket 1 from your total. That's what's left. That's what you have to work with, okay? Step 4. From what's left, you assign a number to bucket 2. You be honest. You be realistic. What do you spend? Okay? Put it down there. Get that number. What do you spend? Put it down. Give yourself a number. I gave Carrie a number, and she nailed it. Did a good job. I gave her a number. She gave me a number. I said that's not realistic. I think she could have done it, but I want to be realistic because when we lock this number in, I'm not changing it. That's what I explained to her. Now she's, so you put me on a budget now, so I guess I can't be doing this and doing that. She's making a joke about it, but she felt such peace. She told me that day before yesterday, I think it was. She's standing there at the counter at our house. She said, I have never felt such peace about our finances right now. I said, babe, this is going to help a lot of people. I said, we have come across something that's really going to break a lot of chains. I believe that with all of my heart. This is a system that's going to help a lot of people. I believe that. All right, so that's that number. Okay, you've got that number. All right, let's move on. Step 5, from whatever remains, I want you to split the rest between bucket 3 and bucket 4. Okay, I want you to pick a number. Let's say after you've done, and some of you, I'm just going to say, let's say after you've done this, let's say, okay, Aaron, after I've done all this, I've got about $61 left. But let me tell you what you've done. You've got $61 left, and I know that may be difficult to hear. I've only got $61 after I do all. After I give myself a livable amount that I feel like we can do. And even that was hard. We have to cut corners because we're used to just kind of going as we want to go. I get it. I've got $61 left, but let me tell you what you've got. Number 1, your house isn't going to fall apart because your financial foundation is solid. So you don't have to worry about your bills. Every single one of your bills are going to get paid because you have set it up to where all of your non-negotiables are completely taken care of. There is security in knowing you're not going to lose your house. Your lights aren't going to get shut off. Your water's not going to get shut off. The base of your credit is going to be taken care of because you're paying those bills. All of your non-negotiables have been set. You have, yes, it's hard, that bucket number 2. I know that you committed to an amount that you feel it's hard. I get it, but you can do it. And you've only got $61 left. At the end of the day, you say, I've only got $61 left. So here's what I want you to do. Take $10. And you can do that twice, once one paycheck. So $20 a month, $10 one paycheck, $10 another paycheck. So if you take $10 from that $61, now you've got $51 left. Okay, so times 2, you're going to have $102 at the end of every month that you have extra that you could pay towards whatever that smallest debt is. Take an extra $100 on top of the baseline that you're paying. Take $100 to put towards the principal and start paying that smallest debt off early. And I know you may be like, man, this is so hard, but I want to tell you how proud I am of you for doing this. Because every single one of your bills are paid. You're finally living within your means, and you realized how much waste that you are responsible for. You're spiritually going to start seeing clouds break through the skies where it's felt gray for a long time. You're going to feel structured. You're going to feel secure. And before it's all said and done, you're going to begin seeing a savings account grow because $20 a month, it may not seem like a lot. And every little bit extra that you get, you may pay towards that debt. Keep paying towards that. That'll eventually climb. And you may say, hey, listen, I'm going to put, instead of $20 this month, let's put an extra 10. Let's do 30. And that begins to climb. And you don't touch it. You don't just go get into it. Because now you've got a system over here that's actually flourishing. Instead of climbing down into the bottom and losing yourself all the time, you're plugging up the holes one by one in bucket number 3 because those things are killing you. You're plugging up those holes bit by bit. You're snowballing. You're doing all that work. Okay, you're still being able to live. You're not suffering, even though the devil lied to you, telling you that guy's a moron. There ain't no way he knows what he's talking about. I'm telling you, you're paying all of your bills finally for the first time in your life. I'm going to hear testimonies from you that are going to say, for the first time in my life, my family are actually paying our bills. They're on time. There's plenty of money for that to happen. How? I don't have any idea. God's going to honor this, okay? I promise you, God is going to honor this. So let me keep on walking with you on this, okay? So I want you to put a certain percent towards the debt, a certain percent towards the savings. Even if it's that small amount, it doesn't have to be big. It just has to be intentional. I'm a Joseph. I'm a Joseph. I'm a Joseph. I'm getting ready for the lean season, and I've got to put this back. So here's the thing. Here's a hard conversation, okay? And I knew this was coming, so let me just say this. Sometimes you're going to do the math, and bucket 1 takes everything you've got. For some of you, that's a reality. Bucket 1 takes everything you have. The bills eat every dollar before anything else can move, and that's real. And I'm not going to pretend I'm not going to pretend otherwise. I know there's some of you that's your reality. But here's what I need you to hear. This is information. This is not a final answer. This is just information. It's a system. Okay? When the numbers don't add up, that tells you one of two things. Either the expenses need to come down or the income needs to go up, sometimes both. That might mean you need to cancel a subscription. That might mean picking up an extra shift or door dashing. Taking that money and putting it toward, maybe you need to start a DoorDash, do some Spark shopping, the Spark shopping for Walmart. That might mean you need to sell something. That might mean you need to have a hard conversation about where you're living, or what you're paying for your rent or your mortgage or whatever the case may be. This system is not magic, guys. This is a mirror, okay? It shows you exactly what's happening. And the clarity that comes with that, it's the beginning of change. So what I'm telling you right now, this is a mirror. It's going to show you where you actually are. And that's something that you need to stare at. You need to take a look at it, because many times we go and we find ways to avoid looking at this, but this is us making eye contact with reality. Okay? You're having a reality conversation right now. And this for some of you, it's a mirror. But it shows exactly what's happening. And most people avoid the mirror because they're afraid of what they're going to see. And you need to have this conversation with yourself. I don't want you to feel hopeless, because God would not have brought you here if he wasn't going to bring you through it. But you need to at least find out where you are. You need to find out where you are. Okay? But you cannot fix what you do not face. You cannot fix what you do not face. Now, I'm going to show you something. This right here, I'm about to tell you, is the rule that changes everything. Because before the buckets, before any of it, there's one principle that most people skip because it sounds backwards. Give first. Not last. Not with whatever is left over. First. You are setting this system up with trust. I was speaking to somebody the other day, talking about leverage. The rich young ruler, the Bible said, come to Jesus and said, what do I got to do to follow? He says, go get rid of everything that you have, donate it, give it away, and then come and follow me. And the Bible says that after that information came to him, the rich young ruler walked away from Jesus very grieved, because he wanted to follow Jesus, but he had so much possessions, he just could not part with them. Possessions were his leverage. It was his ability to control. It was his ability, if something happened, he could use his finances to control a person, a situation, whatever it might be. His possessions gave him leverage. And so he did not want to lose his leverage, because if he lost his leverage, he felt like he lost control. And if he lost control, he was afraid of what it would be like to not have control. Jesus was saying, you cannot use your life or your circumstances as leverage and still be able to follow me. He says, you've got to get rid of your leverage, because the foundation of following Jesus is trust. Jesus was telling that rich young ruler, you cannot manipulate your way into following me. And the people around me, you cannot manipulate them. You're going to have to get rid of all that stuff. I need a fresh, clean canvas from you. He says, because the only way that you're going to make it following me is trust. You have to trust. This system right here is overwhelming, but it's supernatural. I believe this is a supernatural system that I am now giving to you, and the first door to it is trust. So before any of those buckets, not with what's left over, first, Proverbs 30:9 says, honor the Lord with your wealth, with the first fruits of all your crops. Your checks are your crops. First fruits doesn't mean leftovers. It means the first portion before anything else is decided. And this is not a church manipulation. This is a spiritual principle that is woven into the fabric of how provision works. When you honor God with the first portion, even if it's small, you are declaring that he is the source. And when he is the source, the 90% he leaves you goes further than the 100% you keep for yourself. The 90% that he leaves you goes further than the 100% that you keep for yourself. I know that sounds like math that doesn't make sense, but I have seen it happen too many times to not believe it. You've got to start with the tithe. You give the 10%, and then you work the 4 buckets with what remains. This one decision is going to do more for your financial life than any spreadsheet ever could. I promise you, I'm living proof. I could give you stacks of evidence that backs what I'm telling you up. This is a system from God. This is not selfish. This is a system from God. And you cannot follow Jesus leveraging excuses against why you can't do this and you can't do that, and this would be better if I did it this way, and this makes more sense if I do it that way. You cannot leverage your way to heaven. You have to trust your way to heaven. And you cannot follow Jesus if you're leveraging all of this stuff. You've got to trust him. So the first most important part of this, Jesus comes first. Trust comes first. Jesus was trying to get this through to this guy. I think it's harder to get that through broke. It's as hard to get it through rich people as it is broke folks. It's just as hard. It's just as hard. Trust is hard. Doesn't matter if you're rich or you're poor. It doesn't matter. Trust is very hard. Some of the most untrustworthy people in the world, or the most untrusting people in the world, are people who don't have a lot of finances, because they're in a system of people that are stealing your copper just to be able to go and get their next high, because that's what we see in our communities. They're stealing from our church. They're stealing from our air conditioners. They're stealing anything. They're cutting off our catalytic converters, and they're cutting this off and cutting that, because that's the mindset. That's the culture that broke people live in. So it's hard for them to trust anybody. So this system right here is already hard for people who are stuck in poverty, because we don't trust a lot of folks. The first way out of this system, guys, is trust, first and foremost. Number one is trust. You've got to trust God. You trust him, and I promise you, start there. Then once you do that, get your income together, get your bucket 1, your bucket 2, your bucket 3, your bucket 4. But God doesn't even get a bucket. You know why? He comes before any buckets. Because without God, I don't have a bucket. And you know what I'm talking about. I don't have a bucket to you know what in. If I don't have Jesus, I don't have a bucket. I don't need buckets. If I don't have him, if I'm not following him, if he's not at the core of this principle, there's no sense in me doing anything anyway, because it's going to fall apart. I'm telling you. So listen, start with nothing. Maybe you're reading this. You've already tried. You've already attempted to budget and it fell apart. You've already felt the shame of not being able to make it work. I need to say something to you directly, whoever you are right now. Starting over is not failure. Starting over is the only way anything ever gets built. Some of you are going to be starting at ground zero, but nothing ever gets built until we start over. Some of you need to just start over. You have got to clear the land and get ready right now and prepare to build. Starting over is the only way anything ever gets built. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be consistent. If you miss a week, get back to it. You overspend in bucket 2, reset, try again. Do what you can. Refill it next time. The goal is not perfection. The goal is a practice, and you'll get better at it and better at it and better at it, because a practice over time becomes a new way of living. A practice over time becomes a new way of living, okay? So, and a new way of living changes what you're able to build. I want to give you an opportunity to build something that looks different, that operates different, okay? So what you're able to build changes what your children inherit. I don't want my children inheriting my setbacks. I want to be able to show them a way out, just like God showed me a way out. I want to be able to show my kids the way out of this. I want, you know what, Jamie? Jamie and Jess, I want Tucker to know how to take care of that money he's getting. And I told him that Wednesday. I said, son, you've got a great opportunity. I said, I want you to learn how to manage that blessing coming into your life. Mom and Dad, you're going to learn this, and you're going to bless him with this. And we're going to change what happens in the future. We're going to have a system that's going to change the way that our children, what they inherit and what comes to their life. We are breaking the back of this generational curse. It's going to happen not just by praying about it, but in a practical system that we're going to be able to sit down with them, and anybody at any age can learn how to do this. It just takes a little bit of discipline. But now they have a system, and God's honoring the system. So there's a little bit more at stake. It's not just myself. God is now partnering with me, and now that begins to change. What your children inherit changes the conversation your grandchildren have about money. This is bigger than your checking account. This is generational. So here's the 4 buckets one more time. Bucket 1, bills. The non-negotiables. Feed this first. Bucket 2, living. Your groceries, your gas, your everyday needs. Give it a number and honor it. Listen, honor it. You honor that number like you'd honor God. Honor that number. Whatever you put on it, you honor it. Bucket 3, debt. One hole at a time. Start small, keep moving. All of your minimums are already being covered. So every bill has a minimum attached to it. Okay? So let me try to draw this for a quick second, because we're about coming to the end. And maybe you guys get this and this isn't even necessary, okay? But I want to put this in here anyway, all right? So here is, I'm going to try to simulate this. Minimum. I'm going to put a third minimum. Let's do 4, just to really get a nice snowball. I want to show you how this snowball works. Okay, let me put at the top. These are your debts. Okay, this is how a snowball works. Okay, here's your debts. This is the smallest to the largest. The smallest one's down here on the bottom. Okay, this is your smallest one. Let's say the minimum on this, let's just try to keep it simple. Let's say the minimum payment on this, let's just say is $10 a month. Let's say the minimum on this is $10 a month. Let's say the minimum on this is $15, and the minimum on this is $20. Okay? So down here you've got a minimum 10, 15, 20. Okay? This is how this works. So you're already paying this. This is in bucket number 1. So right here, all this is getting handled month by month in bucket number 1. Okay? So let's say, what did we say? $61. 10 of it's going to go to savings. So you've got 51 extra dollars. That's the minimum. But let's say the actual payoff, let's say is $200. Let's say the payoff on this one is $250. Let's say the payoff on this one, let's just keep going up in 50. And then these may be much bigger, just trying to show you how this works. Okay? So here's how a snowball works, okay? So let's say the actual bill on the highest bill you've got is $350, okay? Which it may be more than that, but I'm just trying to give you an example. So you got $350, $300, $250, $200. This is your cheapest bill you've got. So your minimum is this. So you're going to take your 50 extra bucks, okay? And here's what's crazy is the interest every month, this doesn't go down. That's the way these loan sharks, the creeps work, is this number's not going down. This number, it just seems like it's like, man, is this even going anywhere? So you're still hanging around 200. You may go down to 198, and you paid, however much you're paying. So this isn't even moving. So let's say you get 51 extra bucks. Okay, so you've already paid this minimum. Let's take you got $50 off of this 1 month. You take that down. Well, now this has gone down 50. You've gone down to 150. You did that in 1 month. Sweet. That's cool. $50. Next paycheck comes around, another 50. Because you said you're going to do, you had $61 left over at the end of the week or the end of the 2 weeks, $61. $60, $10 to savings, 50 goes to knock these bills down. Take another 50 out of it. Now, next week, 50 out. Boom. So now you're down to 100. You're at $100 now. Man, that was fast. The next week, same thing. So now let's say you fast forward and you pay that debt off. Now you've got 50 plus the 10, because the 10 is being paid was being paid in that bucket number one. Well, now it came out of bucket number one because it's no longer a non-negotiable. It's no longer existing. But you take that 10 and you add it to your 50. Now your 50 just becomes 60. Come on, somebody. Now you got 60. So you're paying your minimum. Now you're going to take $60, and every paycheck, kaboom, you're hitting that $60. Well, guess what? You pay that one off. Okay? You're 60 snowballed, and you pay that off. Well, guess what? Your 60 just turned to 70. Now you got 70. So you got 50, 60, 70. The two minimums, you're now taking those two minimums plus your 50. So those are 10 apiece. So you got 50. 50 is your ace. Now you've got 10. Now you got another 10. You're kicking butt and taking names now, guys. You're kicking butt and taking names. You've done canceled these two out. Now you're kicking butt, you're taking names. You're taking that 10 and that 10 plus that 50. Let's go slay another giant. So you go up. Now you got 70, and you pay that off even faster. Well, guess what? You knock that giant off too. Get out of here. You're dead. You're going down. And you're still paying your bills. Bucket one is still moving. You're still living. Bucket number two. Okay, your savings has been climbing this whole time. $10 every paycheck. Your savings has been climbing. Instead of going in the hole, it may not be super fast, but guess what? You're climbing, and we'll take that. You're moving on up, as the Jeffersons say. Okay, you're moving up. You're moving up. So let's go. So here we go. We're beating it. We're beating it. We're beating it. You're rocking. You're rolling. So guess what you do? 50, 60, 70. You beat that one. So now guess what? Give me that $15 minimum. That's coming to me now. Plus another 15, another one. So now we got 50 plus 60, or 50 plus 10, that's 60. Plus 10, that's 70. Now you've got 85 extra dollars in this snowball. So now you take 85 and you go after that debt. And every paycheck, now you're taking $85 and you're going after it. You're not adding new debts because you're not a moron, and you stopped adding debts to your account. So now you've snowballed, and you've taken all of those extras that you've got. You've paid all that, and before you know it, all those debts are gone. Now you're sitting on all of these minimums, which is 20, 30, 40, 55, plus you've got $105. Now you can start taking that and adding it to your savings. So now you're going towards a $500 goal. Because your debts, you done ripped them debts up, man. You're kicking butt and taking names. Now, some of this is bigger. Mine's bigger. I got quite a few debts I'm going to be paying off, but in Jesus' name, I'm coming after them. I started knocking them debts off. I'm excited. I started going in there and finding them little debts. I just started beating the living daylights out of them. I just started ripping them up, man, going to town. I just started beating the daylights out of them debts, one right after another, man. I just started ripping through them. And I've still got a lot more, and I'm going after it because I'm working this system. I ain't just talking about it. I'm living it, okay? I took this system. I changed my whole system around. I've been working a week and a half with it or so, and I'm telling you, it just works. That's why I was going to wait and teach this a couple weeks later from now, but I'm like, this thing's working now. People need this now. I'm not waiting. Let's go because it's work. It's going to work. I know it works. I'm not going to sit there and doubt God. I know God gave it to me, so I'm going to go ahead and let's go. So we start rocking this thing out. Knocked all this stuff out. Then you start taking that amount that you've got left. So you've got 50 that you committed to, that you've been working, paying all these debts off. Now, if you get extra money, you don't say, "Oh, well, I'm going to put this in my bucket number 2." No, you're learning to live. You need to just stay with bucket number 2. If you get extra money that comes in, pay this off or put it in your savings, go towards your goals, okay? You got to do that. So bucket number 1, bills, the non-negotiables, you feed that. Bucket number 2, living, groceries, gas, everyday needs. Give it a number, honor it. Bucket number 3, debt, one hole at a time. Start small, keep moving. Bucket 4, that's your future. Even $5, $10, whatever. Hands off unless it's a true emergency. 4 buckets, one decision at a time. You don't have to figure this all out this week. You just have to start. But the Bible says in Proverbs 10:4, it says that the diligent hand makes rich, not the lucky hand. Mr. Gambler, I see you down there. You've got to stop. You can overcome it because it's a leaky bucket and it's eating you alive. Okay? The Bible says the diligent, not the lucky hand. That lucky hand is not going to change anything. I'm glad you confess you are an overcomer. Yet you're an overcomer. God wants that bucket stopped up, and with the power of God, you start honoring God in your finances. That's dishonoring God with your finances. And I know that you're a man that honors God. And you're saying, God, you're speaking to me today. I want to honor you in my finances. You tell me that the diligent hand is what makes me rich, not the lucky hand. Not the hand that finally got a big break, the diligent hand. He's calling you to be a Joseph. He wants you to help break the back of poverty for your family, for those that are around you. There are going to be times where there are going to be folks that are going to need some sound counsel from you, and they're struggling, and they're not able to maybe mentally hold on to it and handle it like you can. You're going to be able to hand them a system that can change it. Proverbs 10:4, Jess. Proverbs 10:4. The diligent hand makes rich. Diligence is just doing the right thing repeatedly. When no one is watching, when nothing is working yet, you can do that. You can do it. Even with what you have right now, starting today, this system doesn't require a certain amount, guys. It doesn't require a certain amount. It requires a certain amount of commitment, not an amount of money. It requires a certain amount of commitment. And that part is already in you, but you got to put it to work. You're going to have to work this system, guys. Oh, man. So that's it. That's the system. For some of you, this isn't anything new. You've already been doing this. Well, you should have told me earlier. It probably would have helped me out of some of my issues that I had bonking my head trying to figure my way through this in life. You're building your testimony. Amen. So, guys, that's it. There's more that we're going to build on with this. You already know that there's more that we're going to build on with this. There's more that we're going to be able to teach with this. But this is the system. This is the base. I want you to get good at it. I want you to learn it. Because I promise you, man, God's going to do incredible things with it. But it's going to take some diligence. It's going to take some commitment. And I know that you can do it. But you've got to commit to this with me, guys. It's something that's so very, very important. We've got to commit to this. We've got to plug up the holes. I will just tell you this. I have privately been working with a couple of different folks, and it has already drastically changed. Just having this mirror drastically changed everything for them. Drastically. You actually know what it's going to take to get out of this. You now know. There's no you could be a millionaire, and this system right here would work perfectly. Perfectly. It's simple. It's not hard. Anybody can learn this. You could teach this to your teenagers, moms and dads. And Brother Eric, I'd be happy to. And we'll put this. I'm still working this. This is still very. I don't usually come this early. I told you I was going to wait, but I got a message today, and it was one of probably in the last 48 hours. I've probably had a half a dozen or so folks that's been reaching out. I'm like, you know what? I was not ready for this tonight. Okay, I wasn't. You can ask Carrie. I'm sitting down at my house, talked myself out of it twice, and finally I said, I have to go tonight. I don't know who you are, and I don't know why, but I stopped everything to come here tonight. I'm telling you, you can verify this with Carrie and Steve. I was at my house. We were having dinner. I've had a day today, and I was like, I'm just going to hang out here. We're just going to relax, And I told Carrie, I said, I have to go. And she said, then go. I said, I'm going. I love you. I'll be back. So, babe, if you're watching, I'll be home soon. I'm done. But I want you to know that for whatever reason, this got pushed to the top of the pile. Some of you, this wasn't for you. That's okay. But I believe a majority of you, this was for you. I do believe that. And I believe when it comes to my community specifically, that God wants you to know this. This is a system that you now have. You can get out of whatever it is that you're in, and you can break the back of this poverty, guys. We got to do this. We've got to be able to help people, okay? We got to help ourselves. But we can't just say, well, I'm praying for you. We got to start developing these systems. Can you imagine if Joseph said, well, we'll pray for you. You say you don't have any food and your family's starving because it's a famine. Oh, we'll pray for you. No, God gave him a system. And because God gave him a system, he put it into practice, and he was able to feed a nation because of a system. Guys, you have one now. You can't say you don't have one. You have a system. 4 buckets. Get your income. Set aside your non-negotiables. Set aside a daily amount that you live with. Then you have an attack bucket. You take the minimums that you're already paying in bucket number 1, and you commit some kind of an amount. If you got a bill that's $3,000 and you've only got $100, start taking that $100 and hitting that principal, and you just start hitting that $3,000 with that $100 every paycheck, kaboom, kaboom, or every other paycheck, kaboom, kaboom. Whatever you've got, you just start diligently hitting it, diligently hitting it, diligent. Your bills are being paid, your dailies are taken care of. Now I'm plugging up my holes, man. And you begin plugging up these holes, and you be diligent, you be diligent, you be diligent. You keep plugging up them holes, you keep plugging up them holes, and before you know it, you're snowballing. You're snowballing. You're doing incredible things. You're debt-free. It's a game-changing system. I promise you. You've got a savings account that's climbing while you're just plugging away them holes, and you're learning to live within your means. This is a mirror to look at that. So, guys, God bless you. I will be talking to you guys about this. I would love for there to be conversations that are had about this amongst us, amongst yourselves, because we want to see people get out of debt. We want to see people honor God in their finances. We want to see the back of poverty broke in our lives and in other lives, and we can actually help. I want to see you teach this to somebody. Put it in your own life first, and you don't have to be perfect, because I promise you it's still new in my finances right now, but it is working so good really fast. It brought such peace to Carrie right out of the gate. I mean, she felt such a peace, just incredible God hand on it, and she was okay with that. So, hey, I love you guys. God bless you. I need to go home. I wasn't supposed to even be here, but God, I guess I was supposed to be here. I just didn't know I was supposed to be here, but now I'm going to have to go home. But, hey, I love you guys so much. I'm so thankful to be here with you, and I'm glad to finally get this to you. So God bless you, and I will see you soon. We'll get some notes to you guys. We'll try to make this a little more organized and put it out there where you can get to it. But God bless you. Have a wonderful day, and we will see you soon. Be wise and have a wonderful day. We'll see you in the morning at 6:20 a.m.